doctors, man. So, can you pay for me first?
You want me to pay for you? You always ask me to pay for you when you go outside.
Bro, we've been friends like 10 years, man. Don't you remember?
Bro, you so annoying, bro.
Bro, our mom was affected by strike, man.
You are so annoying, bro.
Ah, damn.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In today's segment, we will be analysing an important Malaysian criminal law case, which is Muhammad Asmadi bin Yusuf against public prosecutor. This case is significant because it highlights two fundamental elements required to establish criminal liability for murder under the Penal Code, which is actus reus and mens rea. To help us understand better about the legal reasoning behind the court's decision, we are joined by the legal expert who will guide us through the facts, issue, and judgment of this case. Now, here we are with the legal expert who will explain more about the facts of the case. Could you introduce yourself to the audience?
My name is NURIZZAH and I will briefly explain about the facts of the case.
Okay, now let's start with the actus reus. So, how did the court determine that the element was satisfied?
Actus reus refers to the physical act of committing a crime. In Latin, it means guilty act and requires a voluntary act or omission prohibited by law. In this case, the actus reus was clearly established when the accused struck the victim's head with a brick.
Oi.
In this case, the accused, Muhammad Asmadi bin Yusuf, was involved in a confrontation with the deceased. During the incident, the accused picked up a brick and struck the victim on the head, causing him to collapse at the scene.
So, what happened after the victim's collapse?
The victim later succumbed to the injury sustained. Medical and postmortem evidence confirmed that the head injury was severe and were the direct cause of death.
So there was a medical evidence linking to the accused action to the victim's death?
Yes, the prosecution relies heavily on medical reports and postmortem findings to establish a causal connection between the assault and the death.
Oh, and why is considered sufficient to prove the physical element of murder?
The act was unlawful, dangerous and intentional. Importantly, medical evidence confirmed that this act directly resulted in the victim's death. Therefore, the court had no difficulty in finding that the physical elements of the offence was satisfied.
Alright, now turning to mens rea. So, how did the court address this issue?
Mens rea in Latin means guilty mind. It refers to the mental state or intention of the accused during the time of committing the act. In this case, the accused argued that he did not intend to kill the victim.
So, how did the court respond to the argument?
The court held that mens rea does not always need to be expressly stated. It can be inferred from the circumstances surrounding the act. The court considered several important factors.
What were those factors?
First, the weapon used, which is a brick. Second, the part of the body targeted, namely the head. It is a vital and vulnerable area. The nature of the act itself. Based on these factors, the court conclude that the accused knew or ought to have known that his actions were likely to cause death or serious body injuries.
So, even without explicit intent to kill, mens rea could still be established?
Yes, under Section 300, knowledge of the likelihood of death or serious harm is sufficient. Hence, the requirement of mens rea was fulfilled.
Okay, so what's the final decision of the court?
The court concludes that both mens rea and actus reus were proven beyond reasonable doubt. As a result, the conviction for murder under Section 302 of the Penal Code was upheld.
What is the key that can take away from this case?
This case demonstrates that in criminal law, intent does not always need to be directly admitted. It can be inferred from the accused conduct, the weapon used, and the surrounding circumstances.
Thank you for your explanation. This concludes our documentary on Muhammad Asmadi bin Yusuf against public prosecutor in a case that clearly illustrates the importance of actus reus and mens rea in criminal liability.
Authoritative focus on the application of the law. We are here to decide on the appeal of the appellant who was convicted under Section 302 of the Penal Code for the murder of the deceased at a night market. Defence Counsel, please present your argument.
Thank you, My Honour. We argue that a prima facie case for murder was not actually established. The fact suggests this was a case for section under 304, culpable homicide not amounting to murder. Furthermore, the appellant testified he was immersing during the incident and denied being the assailant.
Regarding to the alibi of being immersing, the trial judge noted that no notice of alibi was provided under Section 402A, Subsection 1 of the Criminal Procedure Code. Additionally, there was no evidence to support this claim.
Correct, My Honour. The prosecution case is solid. Multiple witnesses saw that the appellant struck the victim's head with a brick.
My Honour, we still maintain that the intention to cause death was not proven.
Intent is not only factor. Under Section 300, Subsection D, if an act is so imminently dangerous that it must, in all probability, cause death, it is murder. Using a brick to strike someone's head is an act of absolute carelessness.
Indeed, the pathologist confirmed that the cause of death was severe head injury from being struck by a blunt object. This act was wholly inexcusable.
We have reviewed the totality of the evidence. The prosecution proved three things. The death occurred, it was caused by the appellant, and the act was done with the intention of causing bodily injury sufficient to cause death. The appellant was conscious of his action.
So, what was the main legal issue that court had to decide?
The main issue was whether the prosecution had successfully proven all the elements of murder under Section 300 of the Penal Code, which would justify a conviction under Section 302. Specifically, the court examined whether, First, the accused committed the act serious, and second, whether he possessed the necessary menstrual during the time of the act.
So, in other words, the court not only determined what the accused did, but also what was going on in his mind.
Exactly. Both elements must be proven beyond reasonable doubt for a murder conviction.